Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day, and today we are talking about that book. Yes, I don't know how to pronounce that book because it is the Betrothed. Betrothed? It is a book written by Kaale, which is one of my favorite authors in the whole wide world. However, that new book, and I know I'm not the only one that has that peace of mind about this book, it's not good. I gave this book 2.5 out of 5 stars, and actually the book has 2 and the audiobook has 0.5, so actually it's more like a 2-star book. I listened to this as an audiobook and it was narrated by Jessica Nicole, and she was amazing. Honestly, I thought that she really helped put a life into the book and really make it more entertaining than it was in reality. And props to her for that, like, really great job. For those who don't know what this book is about, it is about Hollis. She is a 16-year-old girl and she has lived her whole life in a palace where she's not a princess, but she has lived her whole life in a palace where her goal in life is to become the king's wife. So she grew up studying and learning all these things to become the greatest queen. And she was in a competition with other girls, but not like the real competition, like the selection, more like we're 5 girls who want the king, but the king will choose. But he could choose like anybody else also, so it's not like a real competition. At the beginning of the book, Hollis realizes that she has been chosen by the king to become the new queen. Hollis is very excited by this because she has been training for that her whole life. Her parents are very proud because they have been training her whole life and most of their lives. However, she realizes that being a queen might not be as fun as she hoped to, and she realizes that there are a lot of struggle that she has to deal with and a lot of things that she cannot talk to anyone about. So yeah, like for example, her future children would not be actually hers. They will be more like the king's to choose and play with if he wants to make an alliance with the other king on the other country that is next door. Hollis didn't know all those things, and even though she trained for that her whole life, she is aghast by the fact that she has duties and that she cannot speak her mind, even though she has never spoken her mind the entire book. Yeah. And then she meets a commoner named, I don't even know, Silas. I don't even know how to write that, but Silas. And she meets him. He is part of a family that has escaped from the neighbor's country, and they want refugee from that king to live there in that city and pledge their loyalty to the new king, King Jameson. For some reason, Jameson agrees and invites them to stay inside the palace until they find a place to live on the grounds. So while they're at court, Hollis and Silas meet and talk like 4 times, and somehow that's enough for them to fall in love with each other. Yeah, it's the trope of the book. It's a love at first sight trope. Yeah, and because she has fallen in love with this Silas guy, she now reflects on everything and wonders if she is doing the right thing, if she wants a life as queen or if she wants a life as a commoner who has nothing. So that's a thing. I do understand that being a queen has a lot of responsibilities and that you cannot do whatever you want in life, but she's been training for that her whole life, so at some point I thought she would know that. In general, Hollis is very whiny for somebody who has had everything in her life. Like, she's lived in a palace her whole life, she has 2 parents who love her. They're a bit strict, but like their parents. She is trying to gain the king's hand, so like, it's not nothing. She's not going to be poor her whole life. She's going to be rich. She's going to live in a palace, sleep on beds that have a lot of mattresses on it. I don't know. The only thing that bothers me with Hollis is that she says that she's been learning and studying to be a queen her whole life because that was her parents' wish for the king to take her hand. And somehow she doesn't know anything about politics, royalty stuff. She doesn't know the duties of a queen. I'm like, what is going on here? The only thing that everybody already knew were like the proper way of like, not entering, but like saluting someone, like my queen, my king, I don't know. It was just weird for everyone, I guess, because she didn't know a lot of things and people were like not happy that she didn't know stuff. And she was like, but it's not my fault. And I'm like, yeah, it is. All the other characters somehow felt very one-dimensional, except for like Lady Della? No. Let's call her Lady Della because I don't remember her name, but Lady Della was a hell of a bitch and I don't know why. I don't understand why. Lady Della was like very, it's not a spoiler, she was very unliked by everyone because her mother had her with a commoner. So she's like a half-breed somehow. And she's like not welcome in the palace because she doesn't deserve it. And somehow she has built her whole life around that principle that she's not enough, and so she's just a bitch to everyone. I don't know why. It was very weird for me. I didn't see any hope of redemption for her character somehow, so it was very weird. I didn't understand that friendship between the two, and yeah. The other characters felt, well, the parents, the Silas's parents were fine, but every character in the book felt like they weren't there. I don't know how to explain that, but they weren't there for themselves. They were only there to bring a certain plot into the book and the story, and whenever that plot would be done, they would just leave. So let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the audiobook. So as I said in the beginning, the intonations were really good. It brought a lot of life to the book and a lot of funny parts. Whenever there would be jokes, it would just be more funnier. I don't know how to speak. I just sometimes would laugh out loud, which is something I don't really do in audiobooks, so I was really surprised by that. There were some accents, which was really interesting. I don't know how they would do that in the book, but there were accents. So I have 2 pros and 2 cons for this book. I could not find 3 pros, so I stayed with 2. The first pro is the concept of the book. I kind of like the concept of rejecting the duties of a queen and just like shutting your mouth and letting the king do everything. I do like that she thought she had the right to do things as a queen. It was an interesting storyline, which we didn't really explore because then she went all cuckoo with Silas, but it was an interesting plot and it would have been interesting to go into that deeper because everybody in the book was sexist, so that was interesting. And the other pro that I have is the queen from the other country, which I don't remember her name because I forgot all the names and I don't find her anywhere, but she befriends Hollis in the beginning when they meet, and they develop a friendship really interesting because they're the only ones who can understand each other because they have the same position, which was really interesting. And it fits with the fact that they felt like they couldn't speak, they couldn't do anything, and that their lives was controlled by the kings, and that even though they were queens and they're supposed to have power, they didn't have any. That was a great storyline. It was a great arc. We didn't explore it because a love story. So the con I have, the first one, is the execution of the story. So again, my camera died because I filmed too many videos. So I just want to finish my point of saying that the execution of the story was not as well done as the concept of the story. There's a difference between a story and how you make it, and how it was made was not interesting, but the story itself, the arc was really, really interesting. So it just, the way that it was made with the love trope thing it was not interesting. My second con for this one is obviously the love at first sight trope, because I hate those tropes. I don't know why I read this book, because I should have known there was a love at first sight trope. I should have known. But I didn't. So that was it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry for the shakiness. I just am not used to holding my camera. So I hope you enjoyed. Like and comment and subscribe if you want to see more videos. Tell me down below if you have read this book, what you thought of it, because I want to know what you think. Because I think I'm not the only one who didn't appreciate that book as much as I wanted to. And yeah, I will see you guys next week. Goodbye.